I spent the entire month of February in Congo on a documentary production. And what an experience it was. From trekking through the jungle for days to find forest elephants, to living with the locals in their village. And even getting stuck in a knee-deep mud with our car. Without a doubt, this was the most demanding production and expedition I've ever experienced. 20 days straight of filming with little to no rest really leaves its mark on you. Reflecting on this journey, I realized that if you want to grow as a filmmaker, there's only one way to do it. Well, maybe I'm being a little too dramatic. There are many ways, but the one I'm going to talk about today has definitely worked for me. And it's about getting uncomfortable. I'm sure you've heard it before. Getting out of your comfort zone is good for your growth. And in filmmaking, the same applies. The reason why this works for me, and it could also work for you, is because when I get out of my comfort zone, I suddenly feel like I become more sharp. It's that feeling of being uncomfortable that somehow makes me more alert, more receptive, and more present. It forces me to think and solve problems on the go. Because if I don't, the project might suffer. At the same time, stepping out of your comfort zone means that you're learning. Whether that means by doing or by observing what others are doing. And even though crossing the line from comfort to discomfort is not a pleasant feeling, but once you learn to accept that it's part of the growth process, it will become easier. And when it becomes too easy, your comfort zone has moved and you're probably still inside of it. Now, from my experience, there's a limit to how uncomfortable each of us can get. And it's important to know this limit, because if you get too much out of your comfort zone, you might suddenly get to a state of making mistakes and of jeopardizing your project. So where is that limit? For me, it's usually at a point where I'm fully focused on a task at hand, whether that's directing, filming, or both, and I don't really have time or mind space to think about anything else. When I'm in that right zone, I kind of do feel in control, but I also realize that if I lose my focus, I can make mistakes. And as I said, this zone is different for everyone, so you will have to discover it for yourself. Now, how do you get out of your comfort zone while filming? There's many ways to do it, and I'm sure you're gonna have your own ways of doing it. But here's a few that has worked for me. Number one, filming in extreme environments such as jungle, mountains, and so on. These environments can make your filming really uncomfortable and can present a variety of challenges, from weather to the fact that you don't have a solid base, because instead of a hotel you might be sleeping in a tent, to its unpredictability, and also because most of the time you're not able to scout these locations, especially on a smaller project, if they're quite remote. Number two, trying a new approach to your filmmaking or expanding on the one that you're familiar with. This could, for example, mean filming a documentary film with two characters instead of one, because suddenly you have to work with two people. And you have to make sure that the story works when they're both in the film. Another option could be to limit yourself. Maybe you're gonna shoot the whole film just using a tripod or just using static shots. You could also try hiring a second shooter for the first time, and you might be thinking that this is an advantage, but if you're not well coordinated, it can be a burden. So that's another challenge that you can take on. Another one could be shooting a series for the first time instead of just a one-off short film or piece. But I'm sure that you get the idea, so just try new things. And a third way to get out of your comfort zone could be to work with more experienced people. And this one is actually my favorite. The reason why this can put you in a place of discomfort is because suddenly you feel like you don't know enough. And if you cannot overcome your ego, it might be a big problem. But if you can overcome your ego and accept the fact that you're not the most knowledgeable person on set or on production, then that's the space where you can really start soaking in all the information and all the skills from more experienced people, and this can drastically help your growth. I would say that ideally you want to be working with people that are a few years ahead of you, instead of jumping on set with Roger Deakins, even though that would be cool. But Roger would be so much ahead of you that it might even be difficult for you to comprehend the information that he's communicating. And if you're at the beginning of your filmmaking journey, you maybe want to learn from me. And that is why I do one-on-one online workshops, and I'm also planning a group shop for September this year, which will be a combination of documentary filmmaking, impact, and adventure. So if you wanna know more about that, sign up to my newsletter because I'll be sending more information throughout the next weeks and months. So these are just a few ways of how you can get out of your comfort zone as a filmmaker, and I'm sure that you will be able to come up with a few more. But as I said, being uncomfortable is one of the best ways, in my opinion, that you can grow, whether as a filmmaker or as a person. So next time you're setting goals or you're planning a next project, try to push it just a little further than you would do normally and see for yourself how getting out of your comfort zone can help you grow. In the meantime, you can check this video right here to learn more about documentary filmmaking. And as always, I'll see you next Tuesday with a new video. Peace and get uncomfortable.